Boom! This session is being recorded. Thanks to Boomcaster. Welcome to Ego Netcast live streaming session. This live streaming session will be an edited version later on for episode 133 of Ego Netcast podcast. And this is a test that I'm doing in order to creating content on a regular basis. So it will be live streaming here on, hopefully, on Facebook, and I will check that soon, and here on LinkedIn and YouTube, and maybe in the future Boomcaster could add more destinations. And now I will take a sip of tea here. Cheers. It will be pretty short and sweet, around 10 minutes, and I've done another test here on Tuesday American time, and when Wednesday my morning, so it's 7:48 now, and things happened, so I didn't start as I wanted to do around 7 p.m. and that's 7 a.m. I haven't woken up yet. So 7 a.m. on Friday, but that's 10 p.m. Pacific time or California time, West Coast time in America. So it's 9 hours difference. So that's why it's still Thursday, and it's torsdag. It's Thursday or Tor in Swedish. So torsdag is the Norse god Thor, and this hammer, I'm ventilating a bit, but it's, as you know, then Friday morning, so it's to keep this time here. So Adam Tinkoff in California, he wrote a comment on my Facebook page and said, is it Pacific time or is it pumpkin time? And because this have past 7 p.m. 7 a.m. or 10 p.m. Pacific time, it's as it is. It's a test and see if I could get this routine going and doing this ventilating. And when I'm thinking of it, I'm thinking aloud here. In the future, I will do, and I'm showing here on the camera, I will use this note card model 1927, put some points and keep to that. I want to do it around 10 minutes. So, and now I've lost the thread already. But anyhow, so it is to having this that I posted on LinkedIn, a post about so-called, air quotes here, productivity system in order to create content without being hyper stressed. So I have created acronyms for that. So B and P standing for blog, newsletter, and podcast. But this live stream will end up as a podcast episode. And then on the different days, I have a lift, you could say, framework, and or satellite. So yeah, with words I will explain that in separate live streaming and podcast episodes. And that's the good thing, that you could do chunks and bite-size content. But anyway, the lift is standing for LinkedIn and Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's now called X. And I want to also start to use new services also that I'm an advisor for. Video, value each other, and then of course podcasting 2.0, and that's coming to this live streaming also one of the main advantages with podcasting is that you could listen whenever you want. With this live streaming now, and the topic I will soon come to that, about the teapot and the storm and the tempest in the teacup and whatnot. In Swedish, it's called a storm in a water glass. So different in different languages. So another sip of tea here. And so why I was a bit late also, it was time early morning, I think. Spotlight, I'll see what that is. Now spotlight yourself for everyone. Okay. What did I do? Ooh. Back to... Okay. I'm playing around with the Boomcaster things here. So, yep. So it will be fun to edit this now. So, yeah. Where were I? I have to think now. Talk about it. Yes, so the settings. I have recently cleared my cache on my Chrome browser here, and that will be one thing that I probably ventilate about in the future, talking about the browser wars in like a flashback or coming back again. So something about Google there and how their so-called they call it monopoly situation, but it is not a monopoly because there are alternatives out there, but they have a very strong position, and that have happened during the years with Internet Explorer back in the day and other things. So this antitrust laws, and I will talk about that also more in the future. So anyway, the settings, I cleared the cache, so it took some time to do that. And also I've had issues, and then I will now check it out here. So it'll be a fun episode. If it's live on Facebook, because I have never, yes. So it seems to be, now I'm showing on the camera, seems to be working. Yay. Yes. So it seems to... Great. So now I've got the setting here. So yeah, so I played around a little bit with that. So to the topic, and I could see here live on the air. It's on YouTube, it says Facebook and LinkedIn, and I should be able to then see if somebody is commenting or so on. And that will be the hard thing with multitasking, if this will become popular and lots of audience. Mainly I'm doing this, getting material for recording that I could edit and then use an audio. And that I wanted to talk about. What's now, do I add some value to be live on screen and you could see me, part of me, because I have a microphone in front of my face. By my cap here, Ego Netcast. I showed the toy hammer with Tor in Swedish, the Marvel thing here. Have you watched that movie? I haven't watched that Marvel movie, Thor's hammer ventilating. Oops, oh, banged on the microphone. So this is testing and play it out and playing with it and see what's going on. And that was I was coming to the podcasting here, and then we'll do the title a little bit, but I will do a follow-up and do that and find the format of this. I was thinking about 10 minutes, like 10 p.m. Thursday, American time, 10 minutes. And I have another one that I'm doing on Tuesday, Tech, American time. And then it's Wednesday morning, Swedish time, Tuesday Tech in 10 minutes with tea. I'm playing with words here and wanted to try to, you could remember it. Again, it's with my schedule and planning and routine, morning routine, and so on, if I will get this going. And I will be open with that in my latest podcast here calling Pluck. And I was showing on camera, gently pluck something, pluck the day, and it's coming from the Latin carpe diem. And in Swedish, it's like grab the day or catch the day or seize the day. But the original thing is pluck, gently plucking, like a berry or tea, 2 leaves and a bud, example. So anyway, regarding podcasting, the one main benefit is that you can listen whenever you want as a listener. And live streaming is live streaming, so it's not really a podcast episode. But now it's starting getting these hybrids. So with podcasting 2.0 initiative, with the different tags that you're adding, what's the technical term for that? That could somebody expert tell me? But for the RSS, really simple syndication, the machinery that's going, that you get a notification when a new episode has been published, and all kind of things. So it's a technique or behind the scenes that as a listener you don't really care, but as a podcaster and others you should care about protecting this RSS and then to extend it and expand it and develop it over time. Because then you could add these nice features like the live item tag lit. So when you're going live and you're using a new modern podcast app, you could see, okay, you're going live, and then you could being in that moment, and you could almost as a listener become a co-producer if you then send a message or a telegram called a boostergram with some satoshis, and a satoshi is a small part or a bit of Bitcoin. So if you take 1 Bitcoin and divide it 100 million times, then you will get 1 satoshi. So that could be things. I'm very realistic there. Will I get lots of live viewers and listeners commenting on my stream? I'm not sure about that, but it could be fun to play. So in my latest podcast, Pluck the Day, I have used a host called podhome.fm. My main host provider is Captivate, where I have most of my podcast. So now this is an additional cost. So you're welcome to support me that way. And I will talk about another thing that I have now added for these satoshis, and that's an Albi hub. So it's almost like we talked about that in the latest episode of A Secular Foxhole. About it's almost like a bank, you could say, with the channels with receiving and sending satoshis. More of that later on. I'm back to the so-called thread. So it's now starting to be a fusion of what's live and what's recorded and what's as an audio episode. So it's neat to test this out and see where it could go. And when I was doing the settings, it took some time to do that, and I'm playing around. So it's all good. And now I've been babbling for, I think, almost for 15 minutes, and I wanted to have it for 10 minutes. So bear with me. And it's fun. It's working on Facebook, and I will see here as an end if it's working on, if I'm live on saying, yeah, I'll see. Tryck för att gå med. Push. But Facebook is saying like this. I don't know what's.
Yeah,
Yeah, now
yeah. I'll see.
it's it's working here. Facebook again. I think I need some help with that. People checking up on me, and now it's very. I see myself here on LinkedIn. It's easy to lose your thread that I'm already doing. Coming back to this. So again, it's a test. It's see where it's going. So the topic that will I will continue is: do you say storm in a teacup or tempest in a teapot? I want to do my own version of it and call it storm in a teapot, because a teapot is bigger, and then you could swirl with a teaspoon. Tempest is a word that I haven't. I was thinking of Joe Tempest in what are Europe, the rock band. But tempest is not as a storm, but I have to figure out that meaning of that word and origin, where it's coming from. So I got curious about that expression. I thought it was like not a positive thing, but as a tea enthusiast, I like it. But it's really, is it a big deal, or is it a storm in a teacup? Or in Swedish, as I said, it's like storm in a water glass. Is it a big deal? Is it really something to talk about? And then you could say, why then have ventilate about stuff and talk about it if it's not worth talk about? But that's one big thing coming up here when I'm talking. It's freedom of expression. We take this for granted, but in certain areas, certain places in the world, in countries, you're not allowed to say something. And that I will do here, ventilating things. And as long as we have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, we have a right to do it, and we have to defend that. That was why I here one of the latest posts on Facebook, I said free Venezuela. It was a band called Fenwicks, that have created a song about that. And this is something that's get me going and standing up for that. Freedom of expression, free speech, liberty. And podcasting is good for that when you have your RSS, and keep that in a safe way. So I saw an illustration on Wikipedia about that, and it was a name there, Gutenberg, Carl Gutenberg. So I wonder if he's related or relative to the printing press, the Bible, the guy who printed Bibles. And now you could have your own blog, and that's also like a printing. And now I'm getting something here. Here, excuse me. That's the thing, going live. So I will look into this expression more, because I like it, and it's a bit play with words, and you will relate to tea, my favorite beverage. And yeah, so it was something, one reference, historical reference, something uproar or something happened on Isle of Man, and this illustration, it seems to be around founding of America, but I have to look more into this, because it was something then again with the British, and then in America, I think it was 1778 they have done illustrations. You have to look into that. If you know anything more about this expression or how you use that, do you say storm in a teacup or tempest in a teapot, or a mix or hybrid or version of that? Or as do we here in Sweden, storm in a water glass. And do you get the meaning, or when you talk to somebody, do they get it? And have you heard that recently in media, in mainstream media, new media? Is it lots of storm in the teacup or tempest in a teapot? Uproar or things for nothing? All these things that coming to us in the stream, so to speak. The live stream, news stream, everything. And now I'm adding, and talking about that, I got a notification on Threads. So we're all getting all these notifications. And I will come back to that, mainly my new podcast, Pluck the Day, about that, to have this balance. I recently got a new book on Ikigai, an audiobook that I will listen to and get everything in place. So this is short and sweet live episode for episode 133. I will do during this weekend a new episode of Pluck the Day and talk about that and the ongoing thing. I have too many podcasts, as I say. As a new media advice, I would advise you to have one, start out with one. I have many. I'm waiting for some co-host joining in some of the podcasts. Some I will so-called pause forever, maybe not shelf them, because it has its own story, life, and whatnot. And some you could pivot, you could change, you could develop. The main one in English, I think, except for my own, besides my own one, Teapot Media, is the Secular Foxhole with my co-host Blair, that we have done for a long time now, and I really enjoy it. And there I see this freedom of expression, free speech, standing up for classical liberalism, so free market, and also the separation of church and state, and same thing with state and economy, and also here in media, that the state shouldn't be involved. It should be private interest. When we could talk, if something like back in the day, it was Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, and other things like that, and that was in a way controlled by, I think, American state and government as a propaganda, as a positive propaganda for reaching out to people on behind the Iron Curtain and so on in different countries. I look into that, how much they are now doing in, for example, in Venezuela. So with that, I will, I think, end soon, but I will show you here on live what I often do in the morning. So I have a cup of tea here. I have English breakfast, for example. You hear now, as a listener, you hear the spoon, and I will show for the camera here on the backdrop. I have Only You Can Save Podcasting sticker for podcastindex.org, and I will show for what I'm wearing. It's a Betsy Ross polo tennis shirt. So now I'm showing here hemp oil from 3,500 milligrams, broad spectrum, premium quality hemp oil without THC, from a brand called, and that's talking about life, Coca Vida, the good life. So I squeeze the rubber for the and open it, and you have this glass thing with drops, and you should take it under the tongue in a way, keep it there for 30 seconds. I put it here, and I will show here on the in a teaspoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. Around 20 drops, I think. And then it was a pause for some time. You could have it now. I swallowed it quicker, but often like 30 seconds will be good, so you could count to 30. And then ending here with storm in the teacup. I put some drops in the tea. Cheers. This version has a flavored with natural orange, Florida orange. So it tastes very, very good also. And it have also an addition of monk fruit and other good stuff. So again, thanks for watching. If you're watching live on Facebook, on LinkedIn and YouTube, and then thanks for listening to the upcoming edited version of episode 133 of Ego Netcast. And I look forward to talk to you soon again. Cheers for now, and bye for now.